Austin homeowners getting ready to sell their homes are screwed. Jeremy Knight, the Knight Group, your favorite Austin realtor. Yeah, this is a completely different market than it was a few years ago. I remember not too long ago, you put a home on the market for $400,000 and it was immediately selling for $450,000 to $500,000. And that same homeowner was sitting there getting like a free lease back and all this fun stuff. That is not the same. The Austin Board of Realtors numbers just dropped for May, so we need to talk about what's happening with that. We need to talk about what's happening in the market, and we need to talk about what's happening with sellers and with buyers, because both are seeing different things. Austin Board of Realtors just came out with this article showing that 6 months of inventory is the Austin market. And imagine this, 6 months of inventory used to be thought of as an even-keeled market, an even market. It wasn't a buyer's market, it wasn't a seller's market. Well, Austin itself is 6 months inventory, and the Austin MSA is 4.9 months inventory. So it's getting really, really close. There's actually some really interesting stats on all of this that I want to share with you. So I'm going to share you with that right now. Okay, let's dive into the numbers because there's some pretty interesting things in these numbers that just came out. First of all, we are now not in a buyer's market or a seller's market according to these numbers. Typically, when we look at what's a buyer's market or a seller's market, we look at 6 months of inventory. And so what that means is, I say this all the time, maybe you don't know what 6 months of inventory means. That is, if today we stopped listing homes today, it would take 6 months for us to sell out of every single home that was on the market. Well, right now we're about 13,000 units on our market in the Austin area. Now, Austin itself is a 6.2 month inventory. I'm going to go through these numbers a little bit more, but the Austin MSA, which is the 5 counties, including Travis County, which Austin is in, is at 4.9 months of inventory. This is the highest amount of inventory going back all the way to 2011. Now think about 2011, we were just coming out of a pandemic, or not a pandemic, but a huge financial crisis back in 2011. So we have more inventory now than we've ever had over the last 10 years. So the problem is that obviously interest rates are high, so it's not necessarily a buyer's market or a seller's market, which we'll talk about more about what buyers and sellers are facing here in a minute. But I really wanted to go through that information. So let's look at the MSA overall. One thing that's really important to notice is that we're at 459. Now this is the median for the MSA, the five county area. And this is where when most people talk about Austin, they talk about the 5 county area, or the MSA. So that includes Caldwell County, that includes Bastrop County, that includes Williamson County. Well, if you add all those counties plus Austin, we're down about 1%. There's something I need to show you though. If you look at, let's say, Hayes County is down 2.5% from last year, okay? If you look at Bastrop County is down 5.4% from last year. And if we look at Caldwell County is 4.9% down from last year. And if we look at Williamson County is at about 1% down, kind of on track with what the 5 county is. So when we hear that prices are falling, you have to understand that these counties that are not necessarily Austin are what is dragging some of these numbers down. Because if we look at the city of Austin's at 608,000, which is up 11% from the median of last year, right? So from last year's sales prices to now, and I have the charts here to show you for Austin and the MSA. What's really interesting in all of these areas is that if we look at the average close to list price ratio, that's what you want to hear, right? If you're buying or selling, the close to list price ratio. For most of these is about 95% of close to list price ratio. So as an example, if a home is listed at $500,000, it's selling for about 95% of that list price. So keep that in mind. But the inventory is what I've been talking about for a long time. If we look at the inventory in the Austin MSA, it went up 37% from last year, and that's the 5 county area. New listings are up 16%. So that's a lot of new inventory on the market. And the thing is, closed sales for May were down 12.8% year over year. That's a pretty big drop. Now, if we look at Austin specific, the city of Austin was up 2.4% in closed sales. So you're seeing more closed sales. But if we look at all the inventory in the market in Austin, it's at 6.2 months of inventory. You would not believe how many condos are for sale downtown. In fact, I was just talking to my friend Kevin, who's got a $5 million, I did a video on a $5 million condo in the Rainey building. They're moving that off the market and onto the ALN to stop the days on market because there's so many condos. The Modern's got condos for $4 to $5 million. Everything downtown has condos. So there, if you're looking for a deal on condos, I'd be going in there and definitely hitting that up. What's crazy though is over 50% of the sales, it's like 58% of the sales that I pulled the data on, 58% of the sales are under $500,000. The median for the USA is about $438,000. If you take that median, it's about 47% of all the sales are under the national median. So if you're a buyer in the market, that's where the prices are selling. If you're getting ready to sell, under 500 is where you want to be. So those homes that are 5 to $1 million, that's where you're seeing a lot of inventory on the market. Now, what's also interesting to note is if we look at the other counties, Travis County, right, which is Austin, is up 4.7% year over year at 555,000. If we look at closed sales, it's actually down closed sales from last year, 18.8%. And again, closing for about 95% of the value, listed closed value. But the average days on market has come down a little bit. It's 54 days on market. Now, there's an article that just came out, I believe it's from Redfin, talking about the fact that the amount of stale listings on the market in Austin is in that, with about 66% of their homes being stale listings. So we're seeing a huge issue here in the Austin area. In fact, if we go back to the MSA numbers are actually down below 2021's numbers. In 2021, we were about $460,000 is the median around the May price time frame. If we go to the MSA and look at the MSA and we look at May, we're actually down below 2021's values. So we're going to talk about what this means for sellers, but we're below 2021's values at 459,000. I believe May was right around 460,000. So you're right below that May of 2021. Now, this from peak to trough, we're down 18.7% peak to trough in the Austin area. So that is where we are. Now, if you look at the MSA is a little bit different. So let's get back to the rest of the video. Okay, so what are sellers facing in this market? I just showed a story where I had a short sale. I've just had a client that we listed their home. They didn't buy the home with me. They bought it with somebody else in 2022. And now they are selling and sold their home. And we made a little bit of profit on it, but it wasn't very much. I'm seeing a lot of these people that bought in the height of the market in 2022 now reach out 2 years later, for whatever reason, they're leaving the Austin area and they don't necessarily have equity. They're at negative equity. In fact, I had someone reach out to me the other day that bought a house for $1.5 million. And they said, what can we sell this for? And I tell them 1.3. Yeah, so the Austin price is based on the data that we saw not too long ago, does show that the people have bought in the height of the market, the 2022 and part of 2021. Obviously, we just said the Austin MSA is down below the 2021 peak. Now, Austin itself, Austin proper, is still above the 2021 peak, but definitely not over the 2022 peak. So what am I seeing with sellers? I'm seeing sellers who are coming into this market right now and then expecting a home to sell in a very short amount of time. Well, guess what? There's an article out from Redfin that actually was talking about stale listings. Austin is at like 66% of its listings are stale listings, which means they've been on the market over 60 days. The days on market we just talked about are 58 days on market, and we're seeing homes sit longer and longer and longer. And now why is that? Well, let's think about it from the buyer perspective. Interest rates are still hovering around 7%. They haven't really dropped, right? They keep going up to like 7.15 and then down to 6.9 and then back up, right? They're not going anywhere and they're not helping. What happened? The Fed. The Fed is, what are they doing? What are they saying? We are going to drop 3 times. Okay. We're almost into the last half of the year and Fed is still saying that they are not going to reduce rates. They are going to drop rates maybe one time, not three times. So now you have buyers that are sitting going, well, I want to wait for interest rates to drop. You tell me when interest rates are going to drop, because I have no clue. I don't think interest rates are going to drop unless we get some really big changes in the economy. And what happens when we have big changes in the economy? It means we're in a recession. Okay, so buyers are nervous because interest rates are high. They want lower rates, which some buyers are finally saying, guess what? We're stuck. We're going to have to buy right now. So that's what you're seeing with a lot of the buyers that are in the market right now. Secondly, prices are still elevated. We are in a really tough market nationally in 2011. I personally bought and sold homes around 2012, 2013, and did pretty well. But does that mean it's the time to buy? I mean, you tell me. I'm not telling you to buy or sell. I'm just saying that if you're waiting for prices to drop and interest rates to drop, that when they do, you're going to see a lot of people back in the market. Because what did we talk about in a video the other day? We talked about the fact that 40% of renters want to buy right now, but they don't think they're ever going to be able to buy because interest rates are so high. And if you do see interest rates drop, now here's what the Fed did say. They said that, expect one rate drop this year, and then 3 to 5 next year, and by 2026 we should be down from a 5.5 Fed funds rate right now all the way down to 3.1 by the end of 2026. That's not like anything dropping drastically soon. That's over a 2-year period. So homeowners that are getting ready to sell their home, you're probably not going to make as much money as you thought you were going to make. And wherever you go, you're probably going to still be paying elevated prices plus have high interest rates. But this is where we're at. That lock-in effect is still a problem, especially in the Austin area, because I know a lot of homeowners are like, in fact, I have one right now that we were getting ready to sell their house there. We're at a 2.5 interest rate. We're looking to go back east, but there's no inventory back east. There's none. And look, Austin is down 18.7% from its peak. So if you're a homeowner, you have to hear that and go, okay, I need to price my home accurately, because buyers are going to be incredibly picky because there's less buyers. And guess what? Even though we're at a 6-month inventory and that's a balanced market, I think it's more of a buyer-friendly market than anything. So you tell me in the comments, is now a good time to buy? Is it a bad time to buy? We'll hear from you, and we'll see you in the next video.